Welcome, everyone, for the session. Probably I'm the last man standing between me and the open bar, so bear with me. I'll try to go as fast as I can. So, yes, my name is Asim Thakker. I'm going to be talking about fan identity in sports events or live events and casino gaming as well. So, I'm currently working for IGT. I'm a vice president for software development on mobile. IGT is a global leader in casino gaming and fintech, but we didn't quite start there. We started really small. In 2014, we started with a company called Venue Ties. What we did was essentially sports technology at the venue, right? Less than 6 people. It was that small company. In 2022, we got acquired by a casino solutions company, which is a leader in fintech for casinos. That was Everi. That was in 2022. Last acquisition that happened was a year before, where a private equity firm ended up buying 2 companies, IGT and Everi, merged them together, and that's how I am at IGT. We've continued the product all through this acquisition, along with the small team that we originally started with, which is great. You know? The slider is not working. Oh, there you go. All right. Yeah, so why is it different? Why are we talking about live events, and how is that different? The goal is pretty simple, right? It's delivering seamless and secure access to digital products. You could not talk about any technical product that does not have that as a goal. What's different in sports and live events is the high stakes that it involves just by the timeline of where we need to satisfy the feature for the end user or the fan. Think of it as when you buy a ticket for a certain game, right? You have about 2 to 3 hours window by the time the game finishes. And the window where someone gets hungry and tries to buy some food and drinks is probably even shorter, 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 between breaks of innings. So it's extremely important to make sure that we do not falter at that particular time. That creates the high stakes, right? The recovery time of, that SLAs talk about, 30 minutes of identification, solve it within 1 hour, you can throw it out of the window. It does not matter, right? That's just contractual language. What we have lost if we falter is the trust with the client and angry fans, right? That's the bottom line. And that's why we are talking about this, because that's a little bit different than the rest of it. Before we talk technology, I'd like to show a couple slides on the product itself, what we actually offer at the venue. One of the products that we do is Venue Wallet, which is a unified wallet that combines all your payment methods, stored credit cards, debit cards, stored value, benefits that might be associated with tickets. It gives one unified experience to the end user. So a quick journey, right? You ending up buying a ticket for a live event for the game. You use the phone to buy the tickets. You go and access the phone for accessing the venue. Once you're at the venue, all your benefits just show up in the wallet. Don't need to sign in a separate time, right? It's essentially all available to you right away, right? So that's a basic journey of the user. But now that you have the wallet, there are a bunch of other use cases you can build over it. And one of the other use cases is we have in-seat ordering, right? So when you're at the venue, you might want to order with the same wallet at your seat. What's the complex part is you talk to multiple different vendors in order to make that happen. This involves the kitchen, the inventory systems, the logistics people who end up actually delivering the food. So there's a lot of subsystems involved and the synchronization that makes it happen. Similar to the in-seat ordering, we have recently done a beta launch with Amazon Just Walk Out at the venue. You can pretty much walk in, pick stuff from the fridge or wherever, and just walk out. The billing happens behind the scenes using facial recognition. All right, so we started, I'll take you back about 5 years ago. This is a pivotal moment for the product that we launched, and it was not a memorable one or happy one, let me call it that. This was a year after COVID, so you can imagine Oakland A's, which is a baseball club, a year after COVID where fans were desperate to actually watch baseball games, actually see it. 2021 is when they actually opened the venue that, okay, the fans can now come in. So you can imagine the excitement of everyone is rushing into the stadiums, right? All the tickets are sold out, and it was an unprecedented situation. The caveat was the government had said that nothing can be physical touching between two systems. So for example, you can't use cash, you can't hand the cash to cashier, you cannot use your credit card or debit card, you can't hand that over. So the only mechanism you can actually pay is the digital wallet, which is the solution we provided, happened to be the launch of our product, right? So as you can imagine, on that very first day, the opening day of MLB for Oakland A's, things did not turn out as we planned at all. Things started to slow down. The ordering system failed, not just for us, even the vendors, the subsystem. It was unprecedented load. A lot of the times, it ended up thinking that we are essentially getting attack, a brute force attack, so there were systems that were blocking that. My recovery time, even if it's 30 minutes, I have missed the game, right? Essentially, it's just not going to happen. So from my perspective, right, the product launch is absolutely the worst possible start we could get. From an end user, a fan experience perspective, they are frustrated. They're not allowed to bring in food from home. They're not allowed to pay for it with cash. They're not able to give credit cards because the digital wallet does not work. So they are absolutely livid. They were actually throwing cash over the counter to give some food because this family was hungry, right? So they're hangry, as they call it, right? So it was, of course, it caught the news after social media, right? You can imagine all the bad things that can be possible actually happened on that day, on that fateful day. I got a call, I remember at about 10:30, I ended up getting a call from who's who of MLB, right? Not to really yell at me, right? But to actually tell me that, hey, buddy, are you going to survive the next day? Because baseball, you have a game the very next day, right? Are you going to solve this that we will not have a similar day, the first, like the day one went? I was uncertain, but had to put on a brave face that, okay, I'll have a team work. We worked overnight, along with some of our vendors, other vending partners as well. We fixed the issue as a temporary Band-Aid. We increased the infrastructure, increased the thresholds, blah, blah, blah. Tested it with a similar load overnight, right, with my team. And the very first flight I take in the morning is to Oakland, right? For two purposes. One is to actually give some comfort to the client that I'm here, right? I'm here for you. I will make sure things are fine. Even though I have my own concerns, I'm putting up that, things will be fine. Second is I had to actually test the system also with the in-menu operations, point of sale systems, blah, 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 right? Small company, so you're doing everything, right? So that's how this started. The day two went fine. The entire season went fine. That was not the point. The point for the story is that we really had to go back to the drawing board and recognize that this is not your normal tech where I can actually have some breathing room of recovery. And the trust is the biggest factor that is important here in any business relationship, but especially here, if they do not trust that I can actually deliver, there's no way you'll survive in this industry. So it's been 5 years since we've had 4.5 million users in our platform with WSO2, clients that span all the major sports leagues, right? We are on MLB, NBA, MLS, NHL, name it, right? So that's what the earned trust gave us over the 5 years. Last year, we expanded into the horse racing venues as well for wagering with an app called Gulfstream Park. 2026, this year, we already launched a casino app, and we are expanding the same venue platform, the wallet mobile platform, over to other industries as well. All right, before we get into the tech side of the world, I'll quickly show the 4 deployment models we work with, and this is where I will try to correlate with identity, which is the core theme of this session. On one deployment model is full on native mobile applications, right? So think of a sports app, right? It has sports content, live scores, game details, as you can imagine, everything a sports application might need. But it also has utility features like the venue wallet that's part of embedded full applications. But not all clients need a full application, so we are modular from that angle, that you can choose different modules within our system. Second is appless web. You can call it a mobile web browser application. The same venue wallet that we talked about can be deployed in a browser application as well. Third deployment model is the same web application can plug in to a third-party application too. So for example, MLB has its own app, baseball ballpark app. We are not the app developers, but our product ends up plugging in seamlessly using federated sign-in into their system. They use Okta, and we'll be talking about that as well. But it seamlessly integrates into our system, and our platform continues to work with WSO2. The very last one is a wallet pay button. Think of it as a PayPal button. So imagine you don't even need a full web app. You might have an e-commerce site that is selling T-shirts, right, or merchandise related to the team. We have the ability to essentially have the JavaScript SDK render the button, which can be white labeled to whatever your branding might be. So San Jose Sharks, which is an NHL team, uses that. They call it teal tokens, right? So you press the button, the same Venue wallet shows up and finish up the transaction seamlessly again. Broadly, on the main native mobile applications, you can see we have federated sign-in as well. So some clients choose that I don't want a user to create his own credentials, sign up and sign in form. They would rather use Ticketmaster as a single sign-on, because most of the people are ticket owners, and they provide a sign-in with Ticketmaster. So the authentication, the IDP in that case is Ticketmaster, but we use that token and essentially single sign-on into our application based off that. This is all based off OIDC. There are other clients who would say, I don't really want to lock myself to a ticketing provider that I might change, and I want to own the user. Rather, I want to give the option to the user to onboard into their system. So there's a simple sign-up, sign-in forms. On the technology front, how do we make, this is another piece of a native mobile applications. We seamlessly connect with third-party web applications too. So at Venue, there might be certain experiences that are related to rewards or in-game play, right? While the play is going on, there was a pizza toss game. We are not the game developers, right? But we integrate with third-party web developers that can plug and play into our mobile application. Again, we pass the context of the user via OIDC to them. We, of course, approve only the certified third-party developers to do that. And what this diagram ends up showing is, one is the login piece, which is with WSO2 that we get the token. And then we pass on the token to the third-party application. And what we do is we certify the third-party application to make sure they're doing the signature verification, all the JOT token verifications, and only then load the web application into our app. Again, from a user perspective, it does not even know that it's a third-party app. From a user perspective, it just ends up working. We have a reverse of that as well, where we are the external web application, which is the Venue wallet. And this is the MLB Park example, right? The ballpark app. And that works exactly the same way we use OIDC. In their case, they are using Okta for their identity. We use the Okta token to federate sign-in to WSO2. And from our application perspective, identity for us is always WSO2. So it just creates that initial federation, and from there on, it is all for our application to take care of. There's one more way we use identity, which is for security. So what we talked about so far is how the product ends up using identity. But behind the scenes, we also use identity at our API gateway level, where let's say Asim is trying to get his wallet, right? Show me my wallet API, just for the sake of it. The token that I have with my identity is verified to make sure that this API is even allowed for the business layer to come in. So the API gateway layer itself that is protecting the rest of the business layer will ensure that only users who are supposed to be calling that API get through the business layer. On the technology infrastructure front, this is where we went back to the whiteboard and said, this is not how we can sustain. So we went all into every advanced modern tech we could find within the AWS ecosystem. So we use the AWS Fargate, which is for container management, completely serverless. We are not responsible for maintaining the server itself. That's the beauty of it. All the patches, everything is black box to us. It just ends up working. Same thing for the database. We use the Amazon Aurora Serverless DB. So even at a database level, so with the example I gave, right, suddenly there's a flooding of transactions. It will scale automatically and scale it down depending on the traffic needs. By the way, that helps from a cost optimization as well. Like most of the times, there's no games going on at nighttime. Why should I have high-powered servers during that time? So there is a scaling available at a database level. And we also use the horizontal pods autoscaler, which is essentially doing the same thing. Depending on the timing and the traffic patterns, it actually scales based on that. How do we use identity? This is where our relationship with WSO2 is via Yenlo. They've been a great partner for us to actually get us to where we are today. We look at Yenlo from the angle that we do not want to think of identity as anything more than identity as a service. We want it to just end up working, right? So what they do is dedicated to us. There's an AWS account. That's where the WSO2 servers are deployed. That's, I think, the 7.1 version that ends up running there. And our AWS on our side, on the Everi IGT side, has a pipe and a connection between them, so it's absolutely secure in a way how we interact with the system. And we also have the ability to get 24/7 monitoring and alerts. So I, as VP of Engineering, I do not have to worry about identity somehow not working. I might do the best things on my platform, but if I do not have control over the identity, it just doesn't work, right? It's a central piece to our product. All right, and yeah, of course, Yenlo has a pool of subject matter experts that we rely on for consulting as well. For anything that we want to include as a new feature, they help out with that. So, been a great partnership. I want to leave everyone with this slide, right? That business and revenue is tied to resiliency, at least in our world. It is not. Typically, when you ask for a certain budget or you want to do some work towards resiliency, there might be certain business folks who would think that, is that really necessary? It is absolutely imperative. We would not have survived the 5 years getting so many clients, the growth. We have doubled our size of clients that we support. We have done millions of dollars of revenue for our clients. It's not our money, it's for them. And that's what the badge we carry, the trust badge that we carry for our clients, and we are definitely very proud of it. We have a bunch of testimonials from our clients, San Jose Sharks, VGK. I don't want to bore you with more of it, but that's the end of my slides. Thank you.